Hello everyone. Once again, I'm happy to welcome you all to Zoho Creator, the Learning Table series. So this Learning Table series is a month-on-month session which occurs on first Thursday of every month. In this session, we every month we used to take an industry and discuss about the possible solutions that can be made with Zoho Creator for that particular industry. In that flow, this month we are going to talk about digitizing logistic operation with Zoho Creator. So before I start the session, let me introduce myself. This is Preeti Venkatesh and I'm going to be the trainer of today's session. So before we move on to the session, let me give you some housekeeping rules. All the attendees on the session will be on mute, and please post your questions in the question tab which is available in the left corner of your screen. My co-trainers will be answering your questions on time, and don't worry, a recording of the session will be sent to all the attendees, and please participate in the polls and the surveys that are going to be conducted. So now let's move on to the session. So I have set an agenda with which I'm going to drive the complete session. So today's topics are going to be like, we're going to discuss about the introduction to logistics and what are the places where automation can be provided in this logistic industry. Along with that, I have just built a small solution with the help of Zoho Creator on behalf of this logistics industry. We'll be discussing about the process flow I have used to build that solution, and also I have used some features like custom AI and scheduler workflow. We will be discussing in detail about these two topics which is present in Zoho Creator. And then I have used Zoho's product, and I have integrated with the application that I have created. So we'll be discussing about the product I have used for the integration, and at last we will see the live demo of the complete application, and other use cases and best practices also will be discussed. So this is going to be the structure in which I'm going to drive today's session. So I've set in clear agenda. Now let's move on into the session. So first thing, introduction to logistics. Actually, logistics is a process of moving goods or services from one place to another place. This logistics obviously use different modes of transport to move these goods or services from different places, right? In common, there are 4 types of logistics present. So first is the inbound logistics. When I talk about inbound, it's a kind of moving the raw materials either to the manufacturers or to the distributors or directly to the consumers. So this is one example I can give for this inbound logistic type. And next is the outbound logistics. When I talk about outbound logistics, moving the finished products from the manufacturers to either the distributors or directly to the consumers. So this is one example I can give for this outbound logistics. And reverse logistic in the sense, taking the products back from the customers, giving it back to the manufacturers or distributors. So basically this reverse logistics is used to return a product to the manufacturers or to recycle a product. So those kind of logistics comes under this reverse logistic type. And next is the third party logistics. In the sense, the organizations or institute take the third party services to manage all their transportation, warehouse, inventory. So those kind of things comes under this third party logistics. So this is a kind of basic knowledge that I can give for this logistics industry. There are more than this. I just brought you one brief introduction about the logistics. Now let's discuss about what are the places automation can be thought about while using this logistics industry. So automation in logistic industry can be provided obviously in the vehicle tracking. In the sense, when you provide an automation, it is easy for you to track the vehicle, where your vehicle is and what speed the vehicle is moving and what is the fuel consumed by the vehicle. So those tracking materials can be automated in this industry. And next is billing, or I call it as an accounting part. Like what is the fuel consumption billing, the repair and the maintenance cost of a vehicle, and service of the vehicle. So these billing details can be automated from a single application. So this is one place where automation can be thought about. And next is route optimization. Let me give you an example. Imagine I'm handling an organization where I have warehouses of different cities, different locations. Okay, so at first I need to capture the cities in which I have my warehouse, and I have to put the best route to transport the goods from one warehouse to the another warehouse. So this content is called as route optimization. So automating this route optimization concept saves so much of time. So this is one place where automation can be thought about. Next is the load optimization. In the sense, when I'm transporting a good from one warehouse to the another warehouse, I need to do so many calculations behind it. Like, what is the size of the vehicle I'm going to use? What is the capacity of the vehicle? And how many tons of load can be uploaded in that vehicle? So these load optimization calculation can be automatically done when we think about creating an application for that particular process. And next is trip log management. Trip logs are one of the major thing that is followed in the logistic industry. In the sense, I need to capture the trips made by a vehicle for a particular day or a particular week, and what is the cost that I've spent to send the vehicle on this trip. So these trip management logs, if it is automated, it will give a big handy for many logistic industry. Next is driver management. Obviously, if I want few vehicles for my transportation, I need to hire the drivers, take care of the driver wages, and I have to assign each and every vehicle with a driver. And these things can be automated from a single place. And last but not least, vehicle documentation. When I'm purchasing a vehicle, I have to sign agreements with the company from which I'm getting the vehicle, and I have to manage the insurance, permit, FC, RC, all the vehicle documents, and I have to check when these documents has to be renewed. Let me give you one scenario. If I'm in a big logistics industry, so I need to manage almost 50 to 60 containers or trucks in a single go. Okay, so I might miss out the renewal time of those permit and FCs. So in such case, this vehicle documentation part automation can help you to send a reminder and do the auto renewal for those purposes. So these are the few important places where automation can be thought about in the logistics industry. So among this, I'm going to take one automation and I'm going to show you that in today's session. Today's session, I've just designed an application called as warehouse transportation. So I'm an organization where I have so many warehouses or hubs at different locations in my country. So I have to transport my goods from one warehouse to the another warehouse, and I have to manage my vehicles, and I have to manage the trips made by the vehicles. So all these processes I'm going to automate using this Zoho Creator low-code application platform. So before I go to the live mode of the application, now I'll just explain you the overall process I have used to build that application. In the process flow, I have divided the complete process flow into 3 modules. In the module 1, I need to collect the vehicle details. Here, I'm just divided the vehicle details into 2 divisions. One is company's own vehicle, my company's own vehicle. So I'll be purchasing an own vehicle for my company. I'll be managing all the documentation for the vehicles that I owned, and I'll be recruiting a drivers, and I'll be assigning each and every vehicle with a driver. And at last, I'll be collecting something called as hub information and fleet information. Hub information, in the sense, the location of my hubs will be captured in this place, and fleet information, in the sense, for each and every hub, I'll be recruiting or managing an in charge who will be called as a fleet here. So, and I'll be assigning each and every vehicle to the particular hub where I'm going to make it stay. So this is one part of collecting the vehicle details, my company's own vehicle. And next is going to be the vendor vehicles. So in essence, I'll be signing an agreement with the vendor, and I'll be getting the vehicles from that vendor along with the drivers. I'll be taking care of those vendor vehicles, and I'll be assigning the hub and the fleet for that particular vehicle as well. So these are the 2 ways in which I'm going to manage the vehicle details in my application. So this is going to be combinedly called as module 1. Okay, and next is module 2, which is a very important module, trip sheet. So as I said, in my application, I'm going to transfer the goods from one hub to another hub. So this is going to be a trip, right? So here in the trip sheet, first I'll be loading the vehicle from the hub 1, and I'll be sending the vehicle from hub 1 to hub 2. In between, I'll be tracking the trip status, and if the trip status is closed, the vehicle has reached hub 2. And after the trip status is closed, I will be opening my second trip, that is return trip, from hub 2 to hub 1. So in this, I'll be capturing the trip status, and if the trip status is closed, I'll be managing the trip expenses. For example, here I'll be uploading some bills, the maintenance bills or repair bills. I'll be using something called as custom AI OCR model to detect the bill images that I'm going to upload, and from that I'll get the total trip expenses, and I'll be uploading this total trip expenses into Zoho Books. Zoho Books is a cloud accounting platform. You'll be seeing that in short. So this is how I'm going to manage my trip sheet along with my trip expenses. Here, notice one thing. I'm going to call a single trip as a round trip, that is moving from hub 1 to hub 2 and returning back from hub 2 to hub 1. This is called as the single trip in my process. So this is the module 2 that I have designed with the local platform. And last is the module 3, that is maintenance. If I have a vehicle, it is needed to manage or do the service for the vehicles. If there is any repair or if there is a monthly service, I need to manage it, right? So for that, I have a module. So in the module, first thing, I'll be capturing all the service providers. Just like the vendor and the vendor vehicle, I'll be signing an agreement with few service providers to whom I'll be sending my vehicle, my company's own vehicle for service. So after giving it for the service, I will be maintaining the logs of the service, like when the last service is done, when the next service needs to be done, and what are the cost of that particular service. And I'll be capturing that as a maintenance expense. Again, I'll be pushing that maintenance expense into Zoho Books. In my case, I'm using the Zoho Books as an accounting platform where I'm managing all my accounting details in my organization. So here I'm going to use Zoho Books. So this is how I'm managing the maintenance logs. And apart from this, I have to send something called service reminders. So service reminders in the sense, if my vehicle is serviced on last month, April 5th. So this month, May 5th, I have to send the vehicle again to the service. So for this, I need some reminders to be done, automatically done. So I've used something called scheduler workflow, which is present in Zoho Creator, to perform this reminder actions. So I'll be sending a mail to my fleet stating that this vehicle needs to be done service today. So this is my complete process flow that I have used in my application. So I have 3 modules. First module, I'm getting the vehicle details, and the second module, I'm managing the trip logs, and in the third module, I'm managing the service. So with this, my application is done. So now let's go to the live demonstration of the application. Before that, I'm going to explain you some of the features or concepts I have used in my application. So the first concept is custom AI model. So here I've used the custom AI model to detect the bills in my application. So before we see the live demo, let's see how I am making this custom AI model. So AI model is nothing. It's kind of recognizing the pattern based on the previous data. They make the prediction, decision, and interpretation with the previous data that we are uploading. So this AI model allows us to train, build, and publish a model which can be used across your applications. So here in Zoho Creator, the AI models are already available based on the AI fields in the form. You don't have to learn big coding or machine learning skills to build this AI models. It is automatically available in the Zoho Creator. We are just going to train, test, and use the model in our application. And one more thing, as an admin of Zoho Creator, you can create the AI model, but you can allow your users to use the model that you have trained and tested. They cannot create a new one. So this is how AI model works. So a documentation about this AI modeler will be shared in the chat by my co-trainers. You can make use of that documentation to more about this concept AI modeler. So in Zoho Creator, AI modeler is divided into 2 types. One is ready to use AI model. Ready to use AI model in the sense, these models are already there in the field. We are just going to use it. So here it has keyword extraction, sentiment analysis, optical character recognition, OCR, object detection. When I talk about keyword extraction, if I have a 10 lines of paragraph, I need only the keywords from the paragraph. This keyword extraction model helps me to get only the keywords from a paragraph that I have entered. And sentiment analysis, in the sense, let me give you an example. I'm just giving a feedback form to my customer. So the customer will be giving a feedback. I have this sentiment analysis will just check whether it's a positive, negative, or a neutral feedback. And optical character recognition, in the sense, when I upload an image, it just detects all the characters in the image and post it in my feed. So this is OCR. Ready to use OCR just gets all the characters in my application and in my image I'm uploading. And object detection obviously detects the object. These are ready to use AI models. Similarly, we have something called custom AI models. Here, in the custom AI models and ready to use AI models, we have OCR and object detection already. So in the custom AI model, OCR is like when I upload a picture, when imagine I'm just uploading a bill in my application. In the bill, I don't need all the details. I need only the total bill amount. In such case, I can use a custom AI model, train that model to capture only the total cost in a bill, and I can use that in my application. So in such case, I can make use of this custom AI model. So obviously, in the prediction, imagine I'm just transporting my delivery to my customer. Okay, so I need to capture the estimated date of delivery. So for that, I can use this custom AI prediction model, where I upload some previous data. According to that, estimates when the product will be delivered to that particular area to the customer. Similarly, object detection, it captures the object that we are specifically mentioning it. Okay, so now in today's session, I'll be focusing more on optical character recognition, OCR model, which I'm going to build and show you as an output in today's session. Okay. So for setting up the custom AI model, there are 4 basic steps. First is create the model. So we need to choose what type of model I'm going to create. For example, it's a prediction model or OCR model or object detection. Which type of model we are going to use? We'll be creating one. And after that, I'll be training the model. For example, if I'm using an OCR model, I have to upload 5 or 6 bill layouts called as training data, and I have to train the model. After training the model, I'll be testing the model before deploying it. So if the model is working fine, I'll publish the model and I'll be making use of the published model in my applications. These are the 4 basic steps to create a custom AI model. So now let's see in detail about how to build and manage an OCR model. It's simple. Obviously, we'll be creating an OCR model from microserver session in Zoho Creator. I'll be showing you a demo where we can find this OCR model in a short. After creating the OCR model, I'll be training the data, verify the summary, and I'll train and test the data, and I'll publish the data and I'll use them in the application. So before we go on to the live mode of the application, let's see how is OCR model, custom AI model works in Zoho Creator. So this is the landing page or dashboard of Zoho Creator. Okay. So in the dashboard of Zoho Creator, in the left corner, I have something called as microservices. So microservices is the place where it allows me to create a AI model, connection, data sources, and AR. AR is augmented reality. We have covered this augmented reality session in the previous month learning table series. You can refer that. Now I'm going to concentrate on this AI model. So just I have to click on create AI model. As soon as I click on create AI model, it asks me 2 choices. One is like you're going to build a custom model, or you're going to deploy a ready to use model. Now, as I said before, we are going to create a custom model. That too, we are going to focus on OCR model for today's session. So I'll be clicking on OCR model. As soon as I click on OCR model, it will ask me to enter a model name and what type of training data I'm going to upload. So now I'll be entering model name as builds and the training data as bills. So not only bills, we have something called as check, invoices, purchase order, passport, proof of identity, receipts. According to that, you can upload it. Now, as I said before, I'm going to upload a maintenance bill as a picture, and I'll be extracting the total maintenance cost. So I'm going to use the training model as bills. And at the bottom, there is something called model requirement. This is one of the important thing to be noted. So in here, we have to upload at least 5 images of similar layout to train the model in a perfect way. Okay, so I'm just clicking on the create model. It says that the name already exists. Let me just change the name. Okay, so in the left corner, we have some 4 steps. These are the 4 steps needed to be followed in order to create the custom OCR model. So the first thing is like add field. Add field is nothing but here I said I'm going to calculate the total maintenance cost, right? So I'll just name it like total cost. That is the field name I'm going to give. And next is obviously total cost is a number data type, right? It's a number. So I'm just giving number data type. If you want to add more than one field from a bill, you can keep on adding that. But now I need only the total cost from the bill. So I just name the field as total cost and the data type as number. And the next step is like add images. Okay, so now I'll click on the next. It will ask me to upload at least 5 or 4 images of similar layout to train the model. So I'm just going to upload some of the images that I have already downloaded and kept. So I'll be uploading the model. In the meanwhile, I'll show you in the right corner, you have something called as quick tips. In that, it is mentioned clearly like what are the formats the image should be and what are the minimum images that should be added. The requirements has been posted clearly. After adding all the images, I just have to click on the next. And next step is going to be like tag fields. So in the sense, I have to tag the field. Let me take this bill. So in this bill, the total cost of the bill is going to be 1062. If you can see, the grand total is going to be 1062. So when I just click on it, it is just asking me like what field I have to add this. I have already created a field called as total cost. In the total cost, this 1062 amount will get loaded. So like that, I have to tag all the bills that I am uploading, which should have a good quality and the number should be clear in that in order to tag it. So after tagging it, when you click on the next, it will showcase the model summary. Okay. So now I've already tagged and kept a few images. So this is how the model summary will look like. On the top, after publishing it, on the top you can see something called test model. When I click on test model, you can upload a picture and test whether the model is working. I'm uploading the same picture which contains the 1062. You can see the grand total here is 1062. I've just uploaded the same bill that I have used for training. So for you to show test it. So this same bill amount should be displayed as the total maintenance cost. Yeah. So now you can see the field name is total maintenance cost and the value is going to be the same value which is there in the bill. I've just tagged only this value, so it is just coming out. So now the model is working fine. Similarly, you can just retrain, edit or delete whatever you want to do with the model. You can just click on the 3 dots here and you can make use of that model over here. After retraining it, you have to publish the model again in order to make use of it. Now, I hope I set a clear example about how to create, train and publish a model in the microservices part. Now I'm going to show you after publishing a model where I can make use of this model in my application. So in my application, I have a form called a trip sheet. In the trip sheet, whenever I upload a bill, the total amount should be getting deducted. That's the place where I'm going to use this OCR model in today's session. So in the form fields, I have 4 types of fields: basic, advanced, special. In the AI field section, I have something called OCR. When I drag and drop the OCR field, it will be asking me to select the model type. Either it's a custom model or you want to use a ready to use model. Custom model is the place where I have just trained and published something called bills, right? I'll be using the model. When I click on the next, it will be just asking me to select an image field in my application. In my form, I have an image field called as upload the bills. I'm using that image field. After I click on the next, the field will get added. So this is how the field will get added. This symbol says that it's a OCR model. The name is total maintenance cost. This is how I'll be adding an OCR model in my form. And now in the live mode of my application, whenever I upload a bill, this is how it looks like, the upload bill section, and total maintenance cost is the place where the cost will get deducted. Now I'm uploading the same bill which I showed you before. So it's just getting loaded. After it processing the picture, it will detect only the total cost which is available in the bill. So you need to train the model according to the bill layouts you're going to provide. Okay, so this is how the OCR model works in the Zoho Creator. So to know more about this OCR custom AI model, a documentation has been shared in the chat. Please go through the documentation and try it out. In the documentation also the prediction and object reduction model also will be available. You can make use of that from that documentation. So if you have any doubts for this custom AI OCR model, please post it in the question tab as well. Now I'm moving on to next structure, that is scheduler workflow. So here, as I said before, I'm using a scheduler workflow to send the service reminders to my vehicle in charge or my fleet. Okay, so in the Zoho Creator, we have scheduler workflow, which helps you to create the timed action without any user input. So this timed action can be done in two ways. Either you can use a date and time field which is available in your application, or you can choose a fixed date and time in which the action should be triggered. So you can write many types of action, like you can send an email notification or an SMS notification, or you can access a data in your application, or you can write a general custom deluge function as an action to perform. So this is how the scheduler workflow this works in Zoho Creator. Now I'll show you where I can find this scheduler workflow in Zoho Creator. I'm going back to the Zoho Creator's edit mode of an application. On the top, I can see something called workflows. In the workflows, I have something called form workflow, schedule, approval, payments. There are so many kinds of workflows that I can write. In that, I'm going to use this schedules workflow. When I click on new workflow, it shows me two things. One is like I can run the workflow on a specific date and time, which I'm going to mention statically, or else I can choose a date field from my application and make use of that. So here I'm going to choose the date field from my maintenance log form. Let me show you the maintenance log form. So in this is going to be the maintenance log form where I'm capturing the service date. So if I'm doing the service for a vehicle on today, so it will automatically generate the next service date. According to the date of service, I'm going to trigger a workflow. Okay, so I'll be choosing the form as maintenance log and the field as date of service. So I've already created a scheduler. Let me show you that and explain it. So in the settings, I can see the details of the scheduler. I gave the workflow's name as service reminders, and the form I have used is the maintenance logs, and date field I have used is the date of service, and time I gave a static time. And then after every 30 days of this date of service, I'm going to send a reminder to the particular in charge. So here actions are going to be the reminders. So in the actions, I'm just triggering an email notification to the fleet of my institute who is in charge of that particular vehicle that I have bought. So I'm just sending an email notification. You can customize this email notification as well. So this is how the scheduler workflow is created. A documentation to know more about the usage of the scheduler workflow will be shared in the chat. Please make use of that. So, and next is the last thing, integration. So you would have seen I have used something called Zoho Books as an account management system in my organization. So Zoho Books is obviously a cloud accounting platform that take care of all my business finance. So here I'm using Zoho Books in two places. So the first place is I'm managing the trip expenses in my account platform. So here I'm just going to create a connection between my Zoho Creator and the Zoho Books with the help of integration flow. And then I'll be pushing my trip expenses into Zoho Books as transportation expense for accounting purpose. Similarly, I'm going to create a connection between Zoho Creator and the Zoho Books using integration flow, and I'll be pushing my service expenses as repair expenses for accounting purpose. So this is how I'm just managing my expense part in my application. Next, finally, we're moving on to the live demonstration of the application that I brought today. So I'm going back to the application again. So this is the live mode of the application. This is I've just named this application as Varos Transportation. So this is the dashboard or the page where I can visualize everything in a quick view. So I'll come to this later. At first, I'll explain you few things that I have managed in my application. First is my hub information. Since it's in Varos Transportation, I will be having Varoses at different locations, different cities in a country, right? I'm just getting the name of that cities, name of the hubs, and also along with the location of the hubs. So I'm just storing them in a report. And next is the fleet information. So here I'm capturing the fleet information like name, email, employee ID, date of joining, and I'm just assigning each and every fleet as an in charge for a particular hub. For example, if you notice that we have a person called as Jan Mathur. He is in charge of this Jaipur hub. Okay, same like that. I have so many fleets who are in charge of different hubs in different cities. So these are the two things I'm managing before I buying the vehicles. And next thing, this vehicle details, the first module of my application. So here, as I said before, I'm going to capture vehicle details in two different ways. One is my company's own vehicle, and next are the vehicles that I'm going to get from my vendors. Okay, so in the company's own vehicles, I have to just enter a vehicle number. I'm just entering a random number and some details of the vehicle. For example, the vehicle's make, year of make, and the vehicle type. It's a heavy, light, or medium type vehicle, and the container size. Since it's heavy, I'll make the container size as 40 feet, and container style, capacity, it's 10 ton, VIN number, engine number, date of purchase, and then I can upload an image for my vehicle. Let me upload a random image which I have downloaded. So vehicle's condition and status of the vehicle. And next section I've just named as documents, where I'll be uploading all the documents like permit, insurance, tax, FC, RC, and others if any. And next important section is the hub information. As I said before, for each and every vehicle, I'll be assigning a hub along with an in charge called as fleet. Here, let me say, for this particular vehicle, I'm assigning the hub information as Jaipur. So, as I said before, Jaipur's fleet name is John Mathew and his contact number. So, obviously, as soon as I bought a vehicle, the vehicle's trip status will be free. When the vehicle is on a trip, the status will be on a trip. So, I'll be showing you later how I'm assigning the driver details. So these are the things I'm capturing as a basic details for storing my vehicle in my application. So I'm just clicking on the submit button. Now let's move on to the report of this vehicle. So this is the latest vehicle I've added, TN6767. Okay. So when I just go to the end, I can see a button called as assign driver. So I'll be assigning the driver. So the vehicle number is TN6767, and the vehicle driver information is, let me add a driver. Let me add a driver named as and I'll give a name to it, Gmail ID, and I'll give a number. Other details I can fill it out, like license number, license image, any ID proof if you want to collect, and the status of the driver. I'm just clicking on the submit. So as soon as I refresh my application, so the driver would have got assigned. So you can see the driver named as Karthik has got assigned. So this is how I'm managing my company vehicles. So I have uploaded few company vehicles in the previous before the session. And next is going to be the vendor vehicles. So in the vendor vehicles, first I need to capture the vendor name. For example, let's say like Navy Motors, and I'll give a contact number for that. The give an email ID, contact person email ID, a phone number, sample phone number, location of that particular vendor. Next is the number of vehicles that I'm going to get from that vendor. So you can get more than 10 also in a single go just by signing an agreement. So now I'm just going to get only one vehicle from that particular vendor called as Nivy Motors. So I'm in this subform, I have to enter that one vehicle details like the vehicle number, entering a random number, style of the vehicle, container size, capacity, vehicle's condition, and trip status. So these are the general vehicle details I'm getting from the vendor. Along with that, I'm also getting the driver details. Okay, I'm getting the driver details as well as the driver status. So those are the two things I'm getting from the vendor. I'm clicking on that. This is how the details will be look like. For example, if this Nivy Motors are providing me with more than one vehicle, I have to enter all the vehicle details in my subform before I submit it. Since I have made the number of vehicle issued as one, I'm entering only one vehicle detail and I'm clicking on the submit button. So when I go to the report of that vehicle, I can see the vendor names. For example, let's say I have a vendor called as LS Motor. So this vendor has provided me within 3 vehicle. When I click on the edit mode of this, I can see all the 3 vehicle details. So this is how I'm managing all my vendor details in a single form. By this, I'm coming to the end of the module 1, where I'm collecting the vehicle details. One is company vehicle and one is vendor vehicle. Now I'm moving on to the module 2, that is my trip sheet. So trip sheet is kind of like from where to where the vehicle is moving and what is the status of the vehicle. So those things should be managed from a single form. So that is called as the trip sheet, very important feature in the logistics industry. So in the trip sheet, first I need to choose what type of vehicle I'm going to send send for the trip. Either it's a company vehicle or I'm going to send a vendor vehicle. For example, let's say I'm going to send a company vehicle. According to that, the details will get fetched. When I click on vendor vehicle, according to that, the details will be changing. Now let's go with the company vehicle. Let me use the latest vehicle I've added. As soon as I click on the vehicle number, all the things will get auto-populated. The hub information is Jaipur and the fleet is John. Fleet contact number, driver name, capacity of the vehicle, everything will be auto-populated. I use some simple workflow behind it. And next is the origin trip, from where to where it is moving. Obviously, the hub for this vehicle is going to be Jaipur. So it will be starting from Jaipur and I'll be sending it to Chennai. Okay. So automatically the distance between Jaipur and Chennai will get calculated. So I'm using something called Zoho Map integration to calculate this total distance, and also I've used some automation to calculate the end hub's fleet information along with the name and the phone number. So in total weight I'm going to upload. Since the capacity of the vehicle is 10, I'll be uploading 7 tons of weight and I'm assigning the trip status as assigned. After filling all the necessary details, I will be clicking on the submit button. As soon as I click on the submit button, a trip number will be created. I will be using this trip number to check the status of my vehicle. Okay, so now let's see where I'm going to check the trip status of a vehicle. I'm coming back to the home page. As I said before, home page is nothing but a dashboard where I can get to see the overall view of my complete application. So here I'm just getting the count of my company vehicle, vendor vehicles, and the drivers that are under me. All these details I'm getting over here. In the middle, I'm getting some service reminders. So I'll come to this part later. And next is the quick links. I have some in the quick links. The first link is going to be check the trip status. When I click on it, it opens the page where I can check my trip status. So the latest trip is, let me see the trip number once again. So Jaipur to Chennai 10118. So this is the trip number. I'm going to use this trip number. I'll go back here. I'll give this trip number as 10118. As soon as I click on the track button, the vehicle status will get uploaded. Now it has been assigned. It is going to the end of Chennai, and carry is the fleet for that Chennai hub. Okay. So when I scroll down a bit, I can see the edit mode of that. From this page, I can edit the status of my trip. For example, let's say that the vehicle has departed from the starting hub, that is hub 1. When I update it, when I go back to the top and track it, the status would have got changed. So it has been assigned, it is loaded, and it is dispatched from the hub. Now let's say like it has reached the destination. When I update it, when I go to the top and track it, the details would have got changed. So this is how I'm tracking my vehicle status in my application. I've used some simple snippet to create this. So it's like, let's say the vehicle has reached the hub 2, that is Chennai's hub. So now the vehicle trip status will be closed. As soon as I close the first trip, the second trip, that is part, will get started. So here, obviously, the startup is going to be, now it is in Chennai, right? It should move from Chennai back to Jaipur. So this is how a complete trip will be. So now if you notice it keenly, as soon as I click the end hub, the total distance between the hub 1 and hub 2 is calculated automatically, and the end hub fleet details has been uploaded. So now let's say I'm uploading 5 tons of weight, and I've designed the trip as assigned, and I click on the update, and I'm just clicking on the track button. So now the trip status will be changed back to assigned. So this is how I'm managing the trip status. So now let's say the vehicle has reached the Jaipur, that is completed the entire round trip. So now the status of that will be changed as closed. As soon as I close the trip, my expense part, where I have to upload my trip expense, will get generated. Okay, if there is a maintenance bill, the maintenance bill section will come up. So this is the thing I have showed you in the OCR model. When I upload a picture, let me upload the same picture again and show you for reference. When I upload a picture, the maintenance cost will get uploaded over here, and I'll be entering the diesel I have used in liters and cost per liter. The total diesel cost will get uploaded over here, and the toll amount what the people have sent, the driver has spent, and the parking charges and the driver wages. Everything I'm entering in the INR. As soon as I click the driver wages, the total trip expense will be auto calculated. For this also, I've used some small workforce behind it. So now, before I click on the update, I have said while explaining the process flow, like I'll be uploading this trip expenses into my Zoho Books. Zoho Books is an accounting platform which I'm going to use to manage all my accounts in my organization. Let me show you how Zoho Books looks like. So this is the home page of the Zoho Books, where I can manage the sales and purchase thing. In the purchase, I have something called as expenses. So expenses is the place where I'm going to upload all my trip and the service expenses. Now I'm going to upload a trip expenses. In order to do that, I have created a integration flow. So in that integration flow, I have created a connection between Zoho Creator and Zoho Books, and I have uploaded filled all the necessary details in order to create it. Okay, now I will be clicking on the update and show you what is going to happen. I've just updated it. So after updating it, if I come here, it will this 26,462 would have been uploaded in my Zoho Books. So it's updated successfully. Okay, so now I will just check whether it's been the flow has been completed. It takes few seconds to push the data from Creator into Zoho Books. Yeah, it's completed. So when I click on the input, I'm just pushing few details like my trip number 10118 and the amount of the trip 26,462. Now if I go to the Zoho Books expense part and I refresh it, I can see the latest. Let me sort it down to the latest. Yeah, so now I can see the trip number 10118 and the total bill cost is 26,462. This is how I'm pushing the data from Zoho Creator into Zoho Books for accounting purpose. So now if I go back and track the vehicle, the trip status is set as closed. So this is how I'm managing the trip in my application. So if you have any doubts in the module, post it in the question tab. Our next module is maintenance block. Maintenance block in the sense the service that I'm going to give for my particular vehicle. Okay, so before I show that, let me show you how vendor vehicle trip sheet is managed for the vendor vehicles. When I click on vendor, so I have to choose the name of the vendor. Navy Motors is the vendor which I have entered recently. So as soon as I click on that, according to that, all the vehicle details will be uploaded. For example, let's say I'm just using LS Motor. LS Motors provided me with 3 vehicles. So when I click on it, all the 3 vehicle details will be loaded. When I choose that, the vehicle details will get auto-populated. This is the only difference between adding a company vehicle for a trip and the vendor vehicle for a trip. Other than that, everything is going to be the same. So now I'm moving on to the maintenance block. In the maintenance block, I'll be entering the date of the service. According to that, the next date of service will get auto-populated, which is I'm just made a 30 days difference between the first service and the second service. That's it. So I'll be choosing the vehicle for which I'm going to give the services and the service provider's name. So if you want to add a new service provider, I have a form where I can fetch all my new service providers. So I've already uploaded a service provider name called as Ishwari Repair Box. I'm just entering it. And what are the maintenance performed? For example, I've changed the tires. The cost I have spent for changing the tires. And I have changed the battery of my vehicle. And this is going to be the cost I have used to change the battery of the vehicle. So according to that, the total maintenance cost will get auto-populated. Here, priority in the sense, imagine this 6767 vehicle is on a trip. It has to be sent on a trip. So in the sense, this is a high priority vehicle. So I'll be choosing the priority level as high. So after I click on the submit button, this data will also be pushed into Zoho Books as a repair expense. Okay, it takes few seconds. Okay, we'll come to this. We'll see this later because it takes few seconds to load. So now in the home page, I have just said explain this section later. Service reminders. So service reminders is a kind of section where if a vehicle needs to be serviced tomorrow or day after tomorrow, that vehicle's number along with the service provider's name will be populated over here. I can just see whether what needs to be done, and according to that, I can make the actions. So now let's refresh and see whether it got uploaded. Yeah. So now repair and maintenance bill for the vehicle TN6767 with the cost of 16,000 has been uploaded to the Zoho Books for the accounting purpose. So this is the entire application that I have brought for today's session. This helps you to manage all the trip logs and the maintenance logs that you want to perform in your vehicle. If you have any questions regarding this application, you can post it out. So this is all about today's live demo. Now we will discuss about a few other use cases you can think about while thinking Creator as a solution for your logistics industry. First, the areas are going to be like you can manage the inventory management. For example, movement of goods within an inventory, restocking level, reordering level, transporting the goods from the vendors. So those things can be automated with the help of the automation process. And next is order tracking and management. This involves the complete order from customer placing an order to picking an order, packing it, delivering it, or returning the order back from the customer back to the manufacturer, making a booking, cab booking, car booking. So those kind of things also can be automated in this transportation area. And supplier management, moving the goods from manufacturers to the distributors, from distributors to the consumers. So the complete process tracking can be managed from a single place. And obviously warehouse management can also be automated. Among this, I'll give you one few example, that is fleet management. So in the fleet management, obviously vehicle tracking is one of the biggest things that needs to be done. And next is the accounting thing, route optimization, load optimization, trip logs, driver management. So these are the common things that comes under the fleet management application. And next is the logistics and supply chain. So first thing, transportation. That is moving the goods between the distributors, manufacturers, and consumers. And the complete inventory tracking system can be managed. Complete order fulfillment from picking, packing, shipping, return, and exchange. So these automations can be easily made. And customer services like as soon as a customer makes an order, we can showcase them the estimated date of delivery using production. We can showcase them the tracking of the goods from a single place. So those things can be automated with this low-code application platform. So I'm just giving you an overview of where are the places automation can be made, digitization can be made in this logistics industry. You can customize your application on your own with this low-code platform. So before I close the session, I'll give you some key points to be noted while using optical character recognition. So OCR. So OCR model obviously extracts the information from the digital images. There are some limitations for that. We need to train the custom model by uploading minimum of 5 images to maximum of 20 images with same layout in order to make the model work perfectly. And next, the image format should be of JPG, PNG, and TIF. OCR model is irrespective of font sizes and written fonts. But obviously, the model cannot be accurate all the time. That is how the AI model works, but it is accurate for most of the times. The maximum file size can be uploaded as 5 MB, and the overall model can take only 150 MB of images to scan. So don't worry, these pointers will be clearly explained in the documentation of OCR, which is shared in the chat. You can make use of that to use this in your application as well, both prediction and OCR. So by this, I'm coming to an end of the session. We have some upcoming sessions called as Creator Tech Connect, which is a technical session which is going to be held on 11th May 9 p.m. IST. In this session, we'll be talking about the latest product updates. This Tech Connect session is also a month-on-month session which occurs on every second Thursday of the month. And the registration link for this session will be shared in the chat. You can make use of that to register. And next month, LTS Learning Table Series is going to be on the topic Creator for NGO. So NGO is going to be the next month industry, which is going to be held on 8th June at 9 p.m. IST. The registration link for that session also will be shared in the chat. Please make use of that to register. So I hope the questions are already getting answered in the question tab. I'm just opening the session leaving the session open for a few more minutes. Please post your questions, it will be answered. Also, if you have any questions post the session, please write to us with the help of training@zohocreator.com. Thank you. So I'll be leaving the session open for a few minutes. I'll be going on mute. Thank you everyone for attending the session. In the chat, we have shared the Learning Table Series playlist and Creator Tech Connect playlist. Those are just YouTube links where you can watch and learn the previous missed out sessions. So thank you once again for attending the session. We'll meet again in the next session with the next interesting industry. Thank you.